Most people do not lose thousands in pay because they're bad at their job. They lose it because they wait to be noticed. Asking doesn't guarantee a raise, but ask at the wrong moment, with the wrong evidence, or with no number at all, and you make saying no incredibly easy. So today, I'll show you how to work out your number, how to build a case your manager can actually defend, and the exact sentence that starts the conversation. And the strongest leverage is created before the meeting, when you build an option your employer knows you could genuinely take. First, understand what is happening on the other side of the desk. Approving your raise costs your manager money out of a fixed budget, and it costs them effort because they have to justify it to their own boss. Doing nothing costs them neither. So your job is not simply to prove that you work hard, because hard work that nobody has documented is easy to overlook. Your job is to make approving your raise easier than defending a no. And here's how you do that step by step. So first of all, meet Sara. Sara earns $42,000 a year. She's good at her job, she's never asked for more, and she has no idea what she's actually worth. That is the first thing to fix. You can't walk in and ask for more, because more is not a number. You need a specific figure, anchored in the market, but not in hope. So Sara does her homework. She looks at what her role pays across her industry, she talks to people doing the same work elsewhere, and she looks at what her own company is advertising for new hires doing her job, which can reveal whether new people are being brought in at a higher rate than the ones already inside. She finds the range for her role is roughly $48,000 to $55,000. Now, be clear about what that means, because this is not a standard yearly bump. Sara has found out her pay has drifted materially below the market rate for work she's already doing. This is a correction, and that is a much easier case to argue. Now, Sara needs evidence, and this is where most people quietly sink their own case, because they argue from need. They say, my rent went up, or from time. I've been here for 2 years. But neither of those gives your manager a strong business case to take upstairs. Companies pay for value delivered, so you have to translate your work into their language, which is results. So Sara builds a proof file. Weak version, I work really hard and I always help the team. And the strong version, I took over 2 of our biggest accounts, I cut our reporting time by 20%, and I helped keep roughly $80,000 of annual revenue that was risk of walking. Same year, same person, completely different conversation. One is a feeling and the other is a business case. If you take one thing from this video, start that file today and add to it every single month, because trying to remember a year of wins the night before the meeting is how good people end up underselling themselves. Timing does a lot of the quiet work here. 2 rules. First of all, ask soon after a clear win, while the value is fresh, and not 6 months later when everyone has forgotten. Second of all, raises come out of budgets that get decided long before you hear about them. If you wait until the company is already handing out its yearly numbers, the budget may already be allocated, so plant the seed early. A calm sentence months in advance. I would like to talk about my salary at the next review. Can we put some time in? That one line gets you into the conversation while the budget is still being built. And ask from strength, not resentments. Don't let it pile up for 2 years and come out as an ultimatum, which is the part that almost every single video skips. Here's the actual wording. Don't open with a 10-minute speech. Make the case, then ask in about 20 seconds. Sara says, over the past year, I've taken on the Henderson and Walker accounts, cut out reporting time by 20%, and helped retain around $80,000 in annual revenue. Based on those results, the responsibilities I'm now carrying, and the market range for this role, I would like to discuss moving my salary to $52,000. That's it. Notice what's in there. Specific results in money terms, the wider responsibility, the market rate, and one clear number at the end. And notice what is not in there. No apology, no mention of her rent, no I have been here for a while. She's not asking to be looked after. She is showing that the old number is now out of line with what she does. Now look at where that number came from and what she does next. Sara didn't ask for a tiny polite bump, and she didn't pull a fantasy figure out of the air. She picked a defensible number in the upper half of the range her research supports, because these conversations usually settle a little below the opening line. So the opening line needs room in it, and then comes one of the hardest parts of the entire meeting. After she says the number, she says nothing at all. Most people can't handle that silence, so they rush to fill it in. Well, I mean, whatever you think is fair, and just like that, they've negotiated against themselves before their manager has said a single word. Say the number, close your mouth, and let them think. Because in the real world, you rarely get a clean yes in the room. Watch what happens next. The manager says, "That is a significant increase, and we do not have the budget right now." Most people fold here. Sara does not. She says, "Is the main issue the amount, the timing, or whether the results justify it?" That question does an enormous amount of work because it forces a vague no to become a specific one, and each answer has its own path. If it's the amount, you're negotiating a figure, which means you're already past the hard part. If it's the timing, you agree a date. If it's the evidence, you agree exactly what would need to be true. Whatever they say, you leave with something real instead of a shrug. Everything so far makes your request credible, but credibility is not leverage. Leverage begins when saying no to you starts to have a cost. When a negotiation actually starts, your pay is shaped not only by how valuable you are, but by the alternatives available to both sides. That's why, for long stretches, people who move companies have seen bigger pay increases than people who loyally stay put. An outside offer prices you at what the market will pay today, while an internal salary tends to just drift. Now, I'm not telling you to bluff. Only mention another offer if you're genuinely prepared to accept it, because that bluff gets called more often than people think. What I'm telling you is to build leverage as a habit. Keep your skills current, stay in touch with your industry, and know what you could earn elsewhere, because it comes back to the rule this whole channel is built on. You're paid for how hard you are to replace. Sometimes a no means not right now. Sometimes it's a real no. Your job is to find out which and whether the barrier is timing, evidence, or budget. So you do three things. 1. Turn it into conditions. What specific results or responsibilities would you need to be in place? What specific results or responsibilities would need to be in place for this to be approved? 2. Get a date. Can we agree now on a time to review this in 90 days? 3. Ask about the other levers. Because money is not the only currency a company has. A performance bonus, a title change, a training budget, or even extra leave. Managers can often approve those when the salary line is genuinely frozen. Do that and a vague no becomes measurable targets and a date in the calendar. None of this guarantees a yes, but it moves the decision onto evidence instead of hope. So that is the system. Know your number, build the proof file, pick the moment, say the sentence. Then just go quiet, because you need to diagnose the objection and build a real alternative before you ever need it. Sara did not become a different person. She just stopped waiting to be noticed. Most people will spend the next 10 years hoping someone upstairs quietly does the right thing, getting a little more bitter each year and never saying a word. The most expensive habit in your entire career is silence. If this gave you a plan you did not have 10 minutes ago, tell me in the comments which step you're using first. And if you want the natural next move, the skills that make you genuinely hard to replace in the first place, subscribe, because that is the next video.